Hello, my name is Brandon Para, and this is my lab report number 3. We're going to be discussing motor learning and means of measuring motor learning via retention and transfer testing. So with the layout of this lab report, we will begin by discussing motor learning as a general concept and discussing some related topics to motor learning. And then we will look to apply that knowledge with an experiment that was conducted with the purpose of initiating and measuring motor learning. So motor learning in this context refers to relatively permanent increases in capability for skill performance. This is generally going to be associated with practice and accumulation of experience for a specific task that one is trying to learn. Motor learning occurs at the level of the central nervous system through the development and integration of motor patterns that meet the goals and demands of the skilled task that is trying to be learned. Because it does occur internally, it's often difficult to observe and thus difficult to measure. The application of retention and transfer tests are two common ways of testing for and measuring that motor learning is occurring. And it is useful at this point to differentiate motor learning from individual performance, and that motor learning is closely tied to that capability of skilled performance. So capability kind of acts like a baseline. That's the baseline which indicates what the expected performance for an individual would be. While individual performance, we often see a lot of variability around that baseline. So we see people overperform and underperform quite a bit. The reason for this is because individual performance is often subject to and influenced by temporary internal and external factors. These relate to a person's mood, how they're feeling physically, changes in the environment that they're having to adjust to that might increase one's anxiety or stress level, or maybe they're even under aroused to the point where they're kind of low energy and having trouble staying focused and whatnot. These are all factors that influence one's individual performance, and because of that, individual performance is often not indicative of a person's actual capability for performing that skilled task. So with motor learning, we're typically going to be referring to performance curves, which is when we're compiling all these individual performances together and we're looking for increases in the average performance over a span of time. This might be conducted over series of days, weeks, months, maybe even over a year. We just want to see a steady increase of that average performance over a period of time. And the period of time is important because we expect when motor learning does occur that capability increase that someone experiences, they should be able to retain that capability over a period of time as well, which brings me back to the retention and transfer testing that we use. So because when motor learning occurs, it's relatively permanent, we should always be able to test and be able to perform at that kind of baseline capability expectation. With transfer testing, it's a little different because we're applying that capability for a specific skilled task, and we're seeing if there's any transferability of that task to another one that may have different task demands, goals, etc. So with that, we'll jump into the experiment. So the experiment, the purpose of the experiment was to, like I said, initiate motor learning. So in order to do that, we took participants through an entire experimental motor learning protocol, which involved having them practice over 4 sessions, and then after a period of time away from that skilled activity, we came back and tested to see if they could retain that capability increase over the practice sessions, and then we also tested them in a different setting to see if there was any transferability of that skilled task to another one. With that being said, the hypothesis is that we will see an increase in skilled capability for that task, and that capability will be retained. The basis for this hypothesis is due to the nature of the task that was selected. We are asking participants to be throwing a beanbag towards a target, and the settings and conditions which this is conducted in are not going to change. The target never moves. They will always be throwing from the same spot. Because of this, it is considered a closed skill, so it's very predictable. The task demands don't change. When it comes to transferability of that task, the transfer task that we did apply in this experiment had very specific near transfer potential, so there is also an expectation in the hypothesis that we will still see presence of motor learning occurring when we're looking to transfer this skill as well. So for the method of the experiment, how it was conducted, CWI students enrolled in this motor learning course were asked to conduct this experiment with a participant of their choice. Because of this, the environment that the experiment was conducted in and some variables involved in the experiment they're not going to be the same for everybody. So there are definitely going to be some variables that have to be accounted for in the results that we got from this. But everyone was expected to set up the experiment as follows. A line was to be marked on the floor with tape. This line would represent where the participant will be throwing the beanbag from. Taking 5 large steps away from the line, an X will be marked on the floor, and this will act as the target that the participant will be throwing the beanbag from. The participant is instructed to stand parallel with the line with their feet, and then they will throw from their side a beanbag underhand and with their non-dominant hand as close to the target as possible. And then each beanbag thrown will be measured for distance away from the target and recorded in centimeters. The participant is going to be throwing 10 times for each block trial for a total of 4 practice block trials. There will be a 1-minute break taken in between each trial. After that 4th and final practice block, a 5-minute break is going to be taken, and then a retention test will be conducted. So the retention test will be the exact same as the practice trials, going to be throwing from the exact same line at the target. Everything in the environment is going to be relatively stable, predictable, everything. They will throw 10 more times for this retention test, and then they're going to take a 1-minute break, after which time they will be asked to move on to the transfer test. And with the transfer test, we're going to be moving the line that they throw from further away from the target, approximately by 1 meter. With this test, they will also throw 10 times, and that will conclude the experiment. Sorry about that. So after the experiment is done, we will move on to analyzing the results. So the data that was collected from each student was entered in and compiled in an Excel spreadsheet. So at the end of the experiment, we had data collected from 41 total participants for each one of their practice block trials, retention, and transfer test. The values that were entered were averages for constant and variable errors that were calculated for each block trial and test. So with figure 1, we're looking at constant error. Constant error is typically a metric used to measure accuracy. So with a lower constant error, we're seeing more accuracy. So looking at figure 1 here, we can see that the performance curve is trending downward, which would indicate an increase in accuracy over these 4 practice sessions. Taking a 5-minute break and coming back to the retention test, we saw an average performance that was very close to blocks 3 and 4, which were the best performing practice trials. This is indicative of motor learning occurring because the 5-minute break allowed for any temporary effects to kind of dissipate and shows that they were able to integrate the task demands for this skill. And then with the transfer test, we actually saw quite the regression in comparison to the practice trials. The transfer test would have actually ranked as the second worst performance for accuracy. In Figure 2, we are looking at variable error, which is a metric used to represent variability, or rather consistency, over the course of these trials. So with a lower variable error value, we're seeing better consistency. So when we're looking at this performance curve, we can see that they're not exactly a steady increase, as there was kind of a minimal followed by quite a significant drop in this VE scores. And then the 4th trial actually had an average increase, which would be a slight regression in variability or consistency. After that 5-minute break, coming back to the retention test, we actually saw one of the best performing averages for consistency, which shows pretty good evidence for motor learning occurring once again. And then similar to the constant error, we see a transfer score that was very high, and actually would have also ranked as the second worst performance based on consistency there. So moving on to our discussion, looking at the results. The retention tests, because they were so close to the Block 4 practice trials, it's showing pretty good evidence for the presence of motor learning occurring. That's because the participants were able to maintain this increase in both accuracy and consistency following that 5-minute break, which would have allowed for any temporary effects to dissipate, and indicates the presence of permanent increases in capability occurring there. The transfer test did not show a lot of support for the presence of motor learning occurring. The transfer averages were both the second worst performing values for both constant and variable error, so for accuracy and consistency. So there's not a lot of evidence being shown there for the presence of motor learning occurring. But with that being said, it would be worth testing for any generalized FAR transfer occurring. So with generalized FAR transfer, we're looking at seeing if there's any transferability to from this task to another task that may be similar but has different setting or different goals. So some possible components that we could include in experiment testing for generalized FAR transfer would be using a moving target possibly, or even throwing objects of varying shape and size, as opposed to the beanbag that was being used. That does conclude my lab report. Thank you for listening.